So a lot of people ask me why I don't use sheet mulch when I'm turning over new plots of land or to smother out areas that aren't productive. And the short answer here is it's all about context. I'm going to talk about the types of mulching I use on our farm and show you something that could work really easily for you. And again, it's all about context. That's coming up next on The Urban Farmer. So some of you might be familiar with the term sheet mulching. What it essentially means is you take a bunch of organic matter, say it's wood chips, and if you're going to turn over a new plot of land, you lay down a bunch of wood chips. Some people use cardboard, that's really popular within the permaculture circles, and you lay it all down and then you cover it up with tons of organic matter. You basically bring in new soil and then you plant up from there. And that's a great thing to do, and it works for some people. We don't do that on our farm because it doesn't make sense for the context. In our situation, we don't own our land. We're farming on pieces of land that we might only have access to for a year or two. So if you really break down the costs of sheet mulching, say a 2,000 square foot piece of land, you go in, you take all the time to separate the cardboard, pull off all the tape, pull off the staples and all that, strip it all down, lay it all down on the plot. That might take you half a day with 5 or 6 people. Then you come in and you bring in all new soil and compost. You might spend a few $1,000s there, and then you got to go from there. So the reason I don't do that is because, for one, I don't have the time. I don't have access to free labor. I pay the people that work with me. And the other is I might not have that piece of land for years to come. So for me to go and invest in all this infrastructure to set something like that up, and I lose that plot in a year or two, well then I'm kind of SOL. So that's the main reason we don't sheet mulch. What we use is landscape fabric, and I've talked about this in a previous video, where if there's an area that's unproductive, we'll cover it with landscape fabric. So those are our perimeter areas, and sometimes even our walkways, because it just makes sense for what we're doing. I'm not saying, and again, I'm going to go back to this divergent and convergent thinking. You need to think divergently. There's many things that work. It's not about one idea that works in every application. We use landscape fabric because it works for the context of our farm, because we don't own land. So, you know, I do a variety of things. I'll put in landscape fabric, and sometimes I do use mulch. So I'll just come outside my greenhouse here for a second. You can see I've got wood chips all down here, but this is my house, right? So I live here, I own this place. It makes sense for me in that context to spend the time and the money and resources to spread out those chips and mulch out that area. But if I didn't own the place, it doesn't make sense. So landscape fabric for us just makes sense for mulching out those areas. As far as turning over plots of land, I turn over land by basically stripping off the grass. I'll do another video on this soon, but I strip off the grass and we use the soil that's there. So that means that we can't use soil that's contaminated, so we avoid that altogether. But we're going to use the dirt that's in the ground because it's there, it's available. A little bit of compost and organic fertilizer in there can make that soil productive again, and that's essentially what we're doing. To go in and sheet mulch and bring in all those resources and take all that time to do it just doesn't make sense in our context. So that's why we do it this way. So I hope that helps. This is a question I get a lot from people. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe channel right now. Please share and like them with your friends. Okay, thanks for watching.